Hi, I'm Rebecca Sweet with Garden Design, and today I want to share with you some of my very favorite combinations in my garden that don't involve flowers. It's all about foliage today. And I love foliage-based combinations because they can last so long in the garden. They can even be evergreen, lasting the whole year. So let me share with you a few of my favorites. Okay, so this combination really begins with the Coleus. And every year I seek out these two same varieties. Now, a lot of people might think, why do you pick the same Coleus year after year when there's so many amazing varieties out there? And I'll share with you why I look for these two. Now, this one here is from the Kong series, and it's called Kong Red. And it's got these big blotches of maroon in the center of the leaf. And then it's got a hefty dose of chartreuse around it. And this here next to it is called Beckworth's Gem. And I love, actually right now as I'm filming this, the sun is shining through and gosh, don't they look like stained glass? They're so beautiful. Well, this Beckworth's Gem, it's got all of this veining within the leaves. And yes, they have flowers. And Coleus, they all have little flowers, but they're really not that exciting. It's really all about the colors in the leaves. And this variety in particular has look at the ruffled edges. It looks like somebody came in with pinking shears. And the reason I love this variety is because it looks so great with this Pieris that's planted right behind it. Now, Pieris is an evergreen shrub, and these are its baby flowers. They're just now forming, and in February, March, and April, there'll be just these cascading, almost like earrings, these tons of tiny little flowers, and they're just beautiful. But right now, they look great when combined with this Coleus because the little flowers they're so textural, they tie right into the edging and the veining of these flowers here, creating a really subtle but dynamic combination. So the Coleus are great. I start with them, put them in front of the Pieris, and then I have at their feet a Sedum Angelina, which is chartreuse, carrying that chartreuse theme throughout. And then here is my favorite Pelargonium. This variety is called Occuled Shield, and it does have flowers. The flowers are not all that exciting to me. They're okay. It's really all about these leaves. Just look how pretty they are. They start out this real bright chartreuse with this maroon center, and you can probably see a theme here, the chartreuse and maroon, which just ties right into the Coleus here. Now this combination will last, oh gosh, maybe 5-6 months until the first freeze. And then freeze pretty much wipes out the Coleus. And I always say it's like putting lettuce in a freezer. It's kind of done after that. But until that point, it looks fantastic for 5-6 months out of the year, all with very few flowers, if any at all. So join me on the other side of my garden, and I'm going to share with you a different foliage-based combination, very different than this one here. Hi, so here we are in a different section of my garden where I'm going to share with you another foliage-based combination using several plants, all with different colors, different textures, different sizes, yet at the same time, there's also repetition that runs throughout, making the whole thing very exciting to look at, very long-lasting, yet harmonious. All right, so if you take a closer look at this combination here, you can see there's lots of colors happening. I've got maroon, yellow, green, gray, and there is a lot of contrast, and that's what allows each plant to stand out, are the contrasting colors. So we'll first talk about what's climbing on the fence here, and this is called Spanish Shawl, and in my Zone 9 climate, it's pretty much evergreen. A frost will zap it back, but then it bounces back. Otherwise, it's an annual, but it's super fast growing and would easily cover this fence in one season. It has glorious magenta blooms in the spring, but then when they're gone, I'm still left with amazing foliage here, which is the perfect foil to this variegated Merlot lavender. And it's got the white and green variegation happening. And then I've got next to it a variegated Abelia. This is called Miss Lemon. Now, a lot of people think, oh, you shouldn't plant two variegated plants next to one another because they're probably wanting to avoid a visual headache. And yes, it could be headache-inducing, but if you want to do that, just make sure you have something really solid between the two. And in this case here, it's Geranium biacovo, and this is spread around, and it sort of breaks up this chaotic combination, allowing it to work. So if we move on down here, this Abelia Miss Lemon that I just talked about, it does have little flowers, but really you don't notice them all that much. It sort of blends in with the variegated leaves. This is a semi-dwarf variety. I love it. Does not get too big, just maybe 2.5 feet. And at its feet, I've got this variety of lamb's ear. This is called Primrose Heron, and it's so worth seeking out because the foliage is a little smaller than most varieties. It's also kind of tipped. It's got these colors of cream and gold, which look beautiful with this. And they're sort of ruffly. They add this sense of emotion as they flip up. My very favorite variety of all. This is a Stonecrop, a dark maroon Stonecrop, sort of tying in with the maroon color on the fence. And I've got a spiky Dianthus here, gray and spiky. So I've got contrasting foliage sizes. I've got contrasting textures, contrasting shapes. And speaking of spiky, right here, I've got this incredible aloe. It's called Safari Rose, and you should see its blooms in winter, no less. It sends out these incredible blooms in December, January, sometimes even in March. But even when it's not blooming, it adds this incredible structure to this bed in contrasting shapes and sizes and textures. Of course, these leaves are very textural. Really holding this bed together with its upright shape. So you can see I've got repetition of color, I've got repetition of textures, I've got a lot of contrast happening, and I've got a very dynamic combination that lasts for at least 9 months out of the year. And if I do get any flowers, they're just a bonus. But at its core, it's all about the foliage.